So the last point we stopped at last session was finishing with the different places or points of articulation. Yes, is it true or not?
Yes, Professor, we stopped there.
Now we'll be considering manner of articulation of consonants, of course. So just a reminder, we said that, and you are familiar with this, that consonants are usually, dealt with, taking into consideration three different factors. The first one is their voicing. The second is their manner, their point or place of articulation, and number three is their manner of articulation. So let me also remind you of the fact that by manner of articulation we basically mean the way or how these consonants are articulated. And if you still remember, I all the time reiterate the fact that when dealing with manner of articulation, you just pay heed to air behavior during the articulation of consonants, whether this air is totally stopped, whether it escapes through a narrow opening, or it is the vocal tract is openly wide during the articulation of consonant. That is to say, there are no obstructions or occlusions within when articulating consonants. So then this is how you should understand the manner of articulation. Okay, and just bear in mind and keep this in mind, please, that the way we try to describe places of articulation, and the way we'll be dealing with the different manners of articulation are basically very important and crucial for an understanding of distinctive features. An understanding of distinctive features of consonants, of course, and vowels, because distinctive features, as we will see later on, basically in audios dealing with the phonology, are basically rooted in phonetics. Distinctive features are basically grounded in phonetics, in that to understand what a phonological feature basically means, you should first of all be familiar with the way a consonant, the consonants understudy, or the consonants are understudy are articulated. That is to say, there is a close relationship between the articulation of consonants and the proper distinctive features standing for them. There is a correspondence relationship, and we will just refer back to what I'm saying once dealing with the distinctive features within phonology, God willing, in audios basically. Okay, so the first thing to begin with is the first class of, or the first manner of articulation is plosive or stop. So it is really self-defined. So this is self-defined because when we say a stop, it means that you would be stopping something. And what is going to be stopped in this case? What is going to be blocked in this case? Huh? Rashid? Rashid? What is going to be stopped or blocked?
Professor,
Abdelmola?
it basically will be the history, the stop, the air.
Very good. It's air simply. So what is then a stop or a plosive? These are consonants produced by stopping the air completely at some point in the vocal tract and then suddenly releasing it, which results in producing a plosive. And this is the reason why it is said to be plosive or a stop. So the articulators usually involved in the production of plosives are either the lips, pressed against each other, or some parts of the tongue pressed against a specific point in the vocal tract. So consonants with sharp stops are basically p, b, t, d, k, g. And these are all produced in a way, in such a way, that is to say, in a way that the air is blocked and it is suddenly released. It is blocked first and it is suddenly released. The second, manner of articulation is fricative. Fricative. So in this case, for the, articulation of fricative consonants, the air is not completely blocked, but we have an escape through a very narrow opening of airstream. We have an escape of airstream through a very narrow opening. And this escape, of course, causes a kind of friction. It causes a kind of friction, or what is referred to as frication. So fricative consonants, basically in English language, are sounds such as s, z, f, v. These are all, fricative consonants, okay? Affricate. Yes,
so I have a question. So in plosive, how many sounds do you have in plosive? So is included? Because sometimes,
stop. Yes, Abdelmoula. Is a stop consonant. Yes.
Because in some books it's not included with stops. That's why.
No, it is a stop now. So we have two glottal consonants. We have and we have so it's clear that it is a stop, Abdelmoula, and is a fricative. Okay.
Okay, Professor, thank you.
Now, the third, manner of articulation is affricate. So, you should bear in mind that affricates are also referred to as complex segments. They are referred to as complex segments for the reason that we have two consonants combined. We have two consonants combined. So, in the case of English, we have ch, which is normally a stop, combined with sh, which is a fricative, and we also have d, which is also a stop, combined with j, which is a fricative consonant. So then, since these are complex segments, that is to say they are made of two consonants at a time, it means that also for their articulation, we will have, a double, let's say, manner of articulation. We will have a double kind of manner of articulation. In that first or initially, the air is blocked completely, since we will begin by, articulating or, pronouncing a stop consonant, in which case the air is going to be completely blocked, as in the production of a stop. And then this air is going to be released in a gradual manner. It is going to be released. It is not going to be realized abruptly or suddenly, but it is going to be realized in a gradual way, or gradually. In a gradual way or gradually, so that we will have a kind of friction, just as happens in the production of fricatives. So then we will start, articulating first the stop consonant and immediately shifting to the articulation of fricative. As I have just said, initially the air is going to be completely blocked and it's going to be, gradually released, causing a kind of friction. So you know that English has two, affricates. The voiceless affricate, ch, which occurs in words such as change, church, chair, achieve, and many other words. And the voiced consonant in words such as jump, joke, gene, June, and so on. These sounds may also have, other, phonetic symbols standing for them, as the ones you have on page 19. Are you following on page 19?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you know that we may have, different symbols standing for different consonants. And this is, of course, they may be used interchangeably. And I do prefer that you use, the first symbols. Ch, which is clear, and J, instead of using that one symbol with a diacritic. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear, Professor.
Yeah. Now, nasals or nasal. So if you still remember, when we discussed, the different articulators or organs of speech as being components of the vocal tract, we said that we have two, cavities. Yeah, we have two different cavities. We have the oral cavity and we have the nasal cavity. So we said that the oral cavity is basically the mouth. It is the part including the mouth. And the nasal cavity is the part which is above the mouth, of course, including the nose, including the nose. So we said that when the velum is raised, so that air does not escape through the nasal cavity. So what kind of consonants do we produce in this case? When the velum is raised so that air does not escape through the nose, what kind of consonants do we articulate?
We'll be articulating non-nasal consonants.
Huh?
Non-nasal. Also,
we don't say non-nasal. We say basically, simply, oral. Abdelmoula. We say oral consonants. So then when the velum is raised so that air does not escape through the nasal cavity, of course we will be articulating oral consonants. But when the velum is lowered so that air escapes through the nose. It escapes through the nose. We will be articulating basically nasal consonants. And you know that nasal consonants are well known in English. You have the consonant N, you have the consonant M, and you have the consonant M. And these are all voiced consonants. Consonants, okay? In other languages, these, nasals may be sometimes devoiced. They may be devoiced. This is represented in transcription by placing a diacritic under the nasal sound. But for vowels, we have a specific diacritic for that, as we discussed it in class, of course. French and Spanish languages have the palatal nasal sound. An example for Spanish. Who is familiar with Spanish language and could pronounce the word we have here? How do you pronounce it? This word you have here. Yes, please. Students familiar with Spanish language, please. Please. Yes, please.
I'm not familiar with this, Professor.
All students? All students? All students? Omar?
Professor,
Omar,
yes, I think, Professor, it is senior.
Senior.
Yes.
Senior, yes. Then in which case it is a nasal consonant, yes? It's a nasal consonant, but it is devoiced. It is devoiced. Devoiced. It's not a voiced one, but it's a voiceless one. In English, we don't have voiceless nasals, but in other languages we may have them, of course. Clear? Okay, so we have Swedish has another retroflex nasal consonant, as in the word, con, grain, while Eskimo has a uvular nasal represented by the symbol you have here. Okay. Now, the class of liquids. So, this is basically, so the term liquid is basically a cover term that is used to refer to the rolled consonant R and the lateral L you are already familiar with. So it's a cover term. Liquid is basically a cover term that is used to refer to both the rolled R and the lateral L in English language, and of course in other, languages, okay? So then this is a term describing both frictionless continuants, such as English R in red, and lateral, such as L in lead. So L is basically produced by getting the tongue in contact with the alveolar ridge and letting the air escape along its lateral sides. So it is because the air is allowed to escape along its lateral sides, it is called a lateral consonant. L is called a lateral consonant. For R, R is basically made, sorry, R is basically made with the tip of the tongue raised. R is made with the tip of the tongue raised, making contact with the alveopalatal region. With the alveopalatal region, and because the tip of the tongue is curled back in the mouth. It is curled. It is curled back in the mouth. We say that it is a rolled consonant. So just keep this in mind. R is rolled, L is lateral, and both fall under the cover term of liquids. Liquids. Okay. The last class we'll be considering is that of glides. These are called glides, or they are also known as semi-vowels or approximants. Semi-vowels or approximants. I still remember that in class, I told you that these are called semi-vowels for the simple reason that they are more. These are, sounds or consonants which are more like vowels than true consonants. They are more like vowels than true consonants, okay? So in English, you are familiar with these, so that you have Y in words such as yellow, yawn, yes, yet, and you have W in words such as wet, window, winter, where, and so on. So these two, consonants normally occur. They are made without, first of all, these, sounds or consonants are made without any closure in the mouth. They are made without any closure in the mouth, and this is how they assume, their vowel quality. So because they are made without any closure in the mouth, they are said to resemble vowels. They are closely related to vowels than to consonants. And we know the phonetic symbols, standing for them. So you have W and you have Y. You can, have Y represented in two different ways. You can have it, Y for the first sound in yes, which is also represented as Y. Two different representations of Y, as you like, okay? So these are the most, important, manners of articulation that we can, consider for the purpose of classifying, different consonants according to their, manner of articulation. Then finished with, consonants, we shift directly, to considering vowels. Okay. As we said before, if you still remember, the first, fact that I all the time, reiterate or put more emphasis on is that consonants and vowels are maximally opposed for the reason that they do not share any common features. They do not share any common features. And of course, this is, justified on their phonetic articulation. So as we said before, and we will be repeating this again, consonants are basically articulated with, degrees of obstruction or occlusion within the vocal tract, whereas vowels are not. So during the articulation of vowels, the vocal tract is wide open. That is to say, there are no occlusions, there are no obstructions. And this is the reason why the parameters or the criteria that are usually made use of in order to characterize, in order to classify or describe consonants are not workable for vowels. They are not workable for vowels. So then vowels are normally and usually classified and described along different criteria or parameters. Different criteria or parameters. And I suppose that you already know this. Who would like to tell us what are these criteria or parameters along which vowels are, usually classified and characterized? Yes, please. Quickly, please.
Professor?
Abdul Mola.
We see the classification of vowels takes into consideration the position of the tongue and the mouth, and the shape of the mouth, whether it's round or spread. So I think that is the most important criteria.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, sure, Abdul Mola. Yes, then it's sure that vowels are totally different from consonants. So as it is mentioned on page 23, as it is mentioned on page, please consider page 23. The production of vowels does not require a closure at the level of the oral cavity. This is clear. As I have just said, during the articulation of vowels, no obstructions, no occlusions are involved within the vocal tract. Vowels are made by making the oral cavity assume several shapes, while the air flows freely outside the mouth. The air flows freely outside the mouth. The classification of vowels takes into consideration 3 different factors in shaping the oral cavity. The first one is the posture of the lips. The second one is the position of the tongue. And the third is the shape of the tongue. The shape of the tongue. So, the vowel space in the mouth is conventionally represented as a trapezium. So usually we tell you that when we introduce to you a chart or a figure like the one you have on page 24, page 24, the one in 1/4 and the other in 1/4. Basically, because here you have 2 figures or charts. So we usually inform you that this figure or chart is basically the shape. It's like the shape of your mouth. It's like the shape of your mouth when you articulate different vowels. Okay, so it is said that in 1/4, that is to say, which is on page 24, A, big A, or capital A, is the highest and furthest front position that the tongue can reach. It is the highest and furthest front position. Pay attention, highest and furthest front position that the tongue can reach. For capital B, in the same chart or figure, it is the lowest and furthest front position. It is the lowest and furthest front position. For capital C or big C, it is the highest and furthest back. Highest and furthest back. And D, for capital D, is the lowest and furthest back point in the mouth. So we will, consider this in detail, of course. Before doing this, please, I would just like to, draw your attention to the fact that the, classification, the characterization, the description of vowels is very, it's very numerous. We have many different, varied characterizations and classifications of vowel consonants. If we simply take the case of Jones, Daniel Jones, as we will see just right now, he tries to classify consonants according to starting first with cardinal vowels and then adding more vowels. We have, Shane, for instance, which is, of course, a kind of simplification of the account that is provided in the sound pattern of English that we have been discussing within class and within the virtual sessions, which is written by Chomsky and Halley in 1968 within this account. And of course, which is, simplified by Shane in 1973, basically in the reference that is titled Generative Phonology. You find that, the author, basically Shane, Sanford Shane, tries to characterize, to deal with vowels according to a basic or primitive vowel system and adding more vowels to it according to the language you are dealing with. So it's not an easy deal. It's not an easy task to speak about vowels because there are variations as there are various vowels in different languages, okay? So the way these authors who wrote, this book opted for, dealing with vowels is the one that is, initiated by Daniel Jones, who basically developed a very precise instrument for describing vowels known as cardinal vowels. Then, what are cardinal vowels for, Jones? What are they? So these are basically vowels which constitute a series of 8 vowels, basically 8 vowels used as reference points. These are used as reference points in the description of all vowels. So these are cardinal, and and it's not necessary that they would be existing in all languages, these cardinal vowels. And also it's not necessary that you will be adding more vowels in other languages, because as you know, and as I told you before, we have certain systems which only have 3 vowels. We have systems which do not make this contrast between short vowels and long ones. And we have also, systems which only have 3 or 4 vowels at least, okay? So in choosing these cardinal vowels, which are 8, Jones looked for the closest front vowel one can make. To begin with, he, opted for the closest front vowel one can make, which is assumed or turned out to be the vowel E. Yeah, the vowel E, okay? To begin with, as you can see on the second, figure or chart on page 24. the second chart or figure on page 24, you have, the first vowel that is located as, in the furthest front part of the mouth is the vowel E, as you can see on the chart. Okay, it's the vowel E. If you try to make this sound or vowel particularly going any further in the oral cavity, you will end up with articulating a voiced palatal fricative like hey, hey, hey. So this is just, for extra information, okay? So the first cardinal vowel then that is located within this chart is the high front vowel E, which is number 1, as you can see here. Moreover, he chose the lowest possible back vowel one can make, which turned out to be what? It turned out to be what, please? The lowest possible back vowel. What is it?
It is it's like it's like
it is what, Abdelmoula? Abdelmoula.
It is it's the one that is referred to as the sound U in English, the letter U in English.
In words like, give me an example, please. An example, Abdelmoula.
Like art.
Huh?
Art. It's art. Art.
Is it art? Like in art? Yes, that's true. Yes, Anas. Yes, Anas. Yes, sure. Then it's the back, low, long, and rounded vowel ah. 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 It's not the ah. It's not the front one, which is short and low, but it is rather the back, low, long, and rounded ah, as in art, car, father, and so on. Okay, then this again would end up in a voiced. If you go again, further in articulating, sounds, then you will end up having a voiced pharyngeal fricative like hey, ha, ha. If you go further, so if it was made any lower. Jones added 3. Then we have up to now we have vowel number 1, which is E, and vowel number 1 and number. Please, are you following? Are you following? Very good. Yeah, number 8. Very good. So we have number 1 and you have number 8. Good. Then Jones added 3 other vowels between the first 2. That is between E and between R. Between E and between R. What are these 3 vowels that he then added? So we have first the A, which is number.
Number 2.
It is number 2.
And we have, there is a slight difference. Please pay attention. There is a slight difference between the A and the A. And this A you have again here occur in languages such as Italian. I'm speaking about number 3. Are you following? So the A you have first in 2. You are familiar with this A because we have it in English in words such as get, bed, met, ped, so on and so on. But for 3, you are not familiar with it. There is a slight difference between A and A. You have it in Italian, for instance, in Italian language, and in Vulgar Latin, okay? And then you have the low, you are familiar with this, the front low vowel A, which you find in words such as men. Other words, please. Men.
Like men.
Cap.
Men.
Cap. Cap. It's not cap with you. No, it's cap with A. Okay? Cap with A.
Yeah.
Tag, and many other words. Many other words. Is it clear so far? Is it clear? Is it clear, dear students?
Professor, yes.
Okay, that's fine. Then, please,
Professor,
so, yeah.
we have the example 3, A. This example of A, number 3, we have it in English, not only in Italian.
Like what?
I don't know an example, but I've seen it before.
No, you are speaking about the central one, CNS. Are you speaking about the vowel that we have in words like bird, girl, will?
Yes,
are you speaking about this?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
NS, it's not that vowel. No, it's different.
Oh.
No. That one,
Okay.
CNS, that one is written like 3, like number 3.
Yeah, this is
it's
different.
not it.
Yeah.
No, it's not it. No, we will be dealing with that. That's a central vowel. It's central one. Is it clear, Anas? Okay.
Yeah, now it's correct. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so to these, that is to say, to the vowels we have been discussing so far, Jones also added 3 more vowels. He added 3 more vowels, which, unlike the first 5, that is to say, unlike E, A, U, are rounded. This is very important, very important. So the vowels we have considered so far are unrounded. Is it clear? You know that rounding has to do with the shape of the lips. When you articulate a vowel, the lips may be rounded or spread. They may be rounded or spread. So for the vowels we have considered so far, I mean number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8, are they rounded or unrounded?
They're rounded. They're rounded. But 5, 6, 7 is unrounded. The shape of
unrounded, please. Yes. Unrounded. Yeah, that's true. They are unrounded. And the ones we'll be adding, that is to say, the ones we have in 6, 7 are basically rounded. They are basically rounded. Then what is the vowel you have in 6? What is it? It's the vowel U. It's the vowel U. You have in words like good. You have in words like good, could, and add would, good, could, would, and other words. Is it clear?
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
And we have number 7. So then who could give me examples of the vowel we have in number 7?
Professor, I think like boy. Like the word boy.
Boy.
Yes.
Or?
Like
you said boy
toy.
Or Omar?
Or toy.
Or
toy.
Teacher, low.
No. Sabah.
Boy.
Cool.
Sabah.
Boy.
Or other examples? Like caught, bought, fought, sought, thought, taught. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Coat.
Yeah. So these are all. So then all the vowels you have on the right, all the vowels you have on the right are rounded, except they are rounded, except the low back vowel, which is R, It's N rounded. It's N rounded. So let me then, add more important things. So, to clarify, how the classification of consonants and their description vowels, takes place. So we perhaps some students are familiar with this, others are not. We normally, classify vowels along three different, dimensions. Three different dimensions or parameters. Number one is what we call vowel height. Vowel height. What do we mean by vowel height then? What is vowel height, please? Walid?
Yeah, we check if the vowel is high or low. Like in the example with here, the first vowel, number 1, E, is if we classify it according to the highness, we find that is a high vowel.
It's not only high and low, say, Walid. High, mid, or low. Yeah, that's sure. So vowel height means basically whether the vowel is high, mid, or low. So that, considering the chart on page 24, the vowel E is high, A in 2 and A in 3 are mid, and the one in 4 is low. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, and then also, as we have just said, we have the shape of the lips. The shape of the lips, that is to say, whether the lips are rounded or spread during the articulation of vowels, so that all the vowels we have on the left, that is to say, the front ones, are N rounded, whereas the ones we have on the right are rounded, except number 8. Except number 8, which is long R. So, oo, we have in 5. Oo is a back, high, rounded, long vowel. Oo is also a back, rounded, but it's not high. It is mid. It's not high. It's high. Sorry. It's also a high one. What makes the difference between number 5 and number 6 is that number 5 and number 6 is that the first one is long, whereas the second is short. That's the main difference. The main difference between, let me give you some examples. So when you say pool, you say the swimming pool, and you say pull as a noun, and the verb to pull. So here you have these two vowels. So the main difference existing between them as I have just said, is that the first is long and the second is short. The second is short. Is it clear?
Yes, Professor.
Okay. Number 7 then. Number 7, you have also, the vowel O, as you have it in caught, bought, fought, and you have a shorter version of this vowel in words like not. So when you say not, it's not this O, it's a short one. You say not, you say cut, you say block, you say pot. So this vowel you have in these words is like the one in 7, except that the second one is short and this one is long. And both these vowels, be it long or short, are mid. They are back, mid, rounded vowels. Back, mid, rounded vowels. And of course you have the last one, which is also back vowel. It is unrounded, but it is long, and it's the vowel ah. The vowel ah. Ah. There is a difference. Pay attention. There is a big difference between the ah. So try to listen carefully to the way I will be articulating these two vowels, please. So you say for the front low one, you say ah. It's front position. It's front position, even if it's low, it's front position of the mouth. But for it's clear that it's the back. It's the back position. It's the back position. That's the main difference. Who would like to repeat, their articulation, please? This ah and ah. Yes, please. Yes?
Professor, ah and ah.
Omar.
Yes.
Omar.
Ah and ah.
Repeat, Omar.
Ah, ah.
Ah.
Yes.
Oh, yes, good, Omar. Somebody else? Sabah?
Yes, Professor, I'm here.
Yes, repeat, please.
We have a and ah.
Good. Abdelmola.
Yes, Professor. So the front one is ah, and the long back one is ah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ah. Yes. Walid.
Yeah, it's
Yes, Walid.
It's ah and ah.
Warda.
Yes, madam. We have a and a.
Repeat, Warda.
A and a.
Very good. Yes, that's true. Yes. Good. Yes. Then, as I have just said, we have vowel height. That is to say whether the vowel, the first dimension is vowel height, whether the vowel is high, mid, or low. And we have the second dimension, whether the vowel, it's a backness. It is what is referred to as vowel backness. And what do we mean by vowel backness? Whether the vowel is front, central, or back. Whether the vowel is front, central, or back. So far, we have only considered the front and back vowels. We haven't yet seen central ones. We will see them right now. Yes, Abdelmola.
I have a point that I need to clarify. What is the difference exactly between central vowel and middle vowel?
Yeah, mid vowel has to do with vowel height. If a mid vowel is in between high and low, said Mola, a mid vowel is in between high and low, a central vowel should be interpreted as being in between front and back. Front and back. Is it clear?
Yes, clear, Professor.
Okay. So vowel backness means whether the vowel is articulated in the front position, whether it is in the center or in the back. This is the vowel backness. And the last parameter or dimension along which vowels are usually described and classified is vowel, rounding, is vowel rounding or roundness. Whether during the articulation of a vowel, the lips are rounded, or they are totally spread. They are totally spread. So just to let you know that for all these dimensions, that is to say, vowel height, vowel backness, and vowel roundness. So these, fall under the heading of vowel, quality, vowel quality. That is to say, the quality of the vowel. You have to bear this in mind, the quality of the vowel. So if ever you are asked to identify the quality of a vowel, so then you should identify whether the vowel is high, mid, or low, whether it is front, central, or back, and whether it is rounded or unrounded. And this vowel quality should be made distinct, or it's different from what is referred to as vowel quantity. And vowel quantity basically means whether the vowel is long or short. Whether the vowel is long or short. Yeah. Sabah, do you want to say something?
Yes, Professor. When we talk about length in a vowel, we mean that we have long vowels and short vowels, which has a relation with duration. For example, we can say mid and mid.
Yeah.
Long E and short E.
Sure. This is vowel quantity, Sabah. Vowel quantity, which is different, should be made different from vowel quality. As I have just said, vowel quality involves three different things. Number one, vowel height. That is to say whether the vowel is high, mid, or low. Number two, vowel backness. Whether the vowel is front, central, or back. And last parameter is vowel roundness. That is to say whether the vowel is rounded or unrounded. Is it clear so far?
Yes.
That's clear.
Okay.
Yes.
So shifting to, page 25, I'm sorry. Shifting to page 5. So far, we have considered 8 vowels. So to these 8 vowels, Jones again added another set of 8 vowels, which are referred to as secondary cardinal vowels. So the vowels he first stated in chart 24, these are the 8 cardinal vowels, the first 8 cardinal vowels, and to these 8 cardinal vowels he added more 8 other vowels, which he called secondary cardinal vowels. So these then have the same tone position as the primary cardinal ones. However, they differ from them in terms of the posture of the lips. The posture of the lips. That is to say whether the lips are rounded or unrounded. Let me, add to your, knowledge that Shane as I have just mentioned, in 1983, in 1973, basically, in the reference, basically, which is entitled Generative Phonology, which was written, as I have just said, by Sanford Shane. He basically refers to these, secondary cardinal vowels that Jones is adding as the mixed series. The mixed series. And why did he call them the mixed series? Simply because we have assumed, just follow with me, and this is going to be clear. This is going to be made clear for you. So we have said that, as you can see, in chart on page 24, all the front vowels are n-rounded. All the front vowels are n-rounded, and all the back vowels are rounded, except the low vowel R, which is n-rounded for the back vowels, of course. Then Jones is going to argue for the fact that we may have mixed series, as argued for by Shane, in the sense that we can have, in some languages, we can have vowels which are front but still rounded. They are front and rounded, as we can have in many languages vowels which are back and n-rounded, This is the point. So, corresponding to the 5 n-rounded vowels, that is to say for the front ones, which are E, A, and R, we have other 5 rounded vowels. So that you have number 9, this is front rounded. You have number, 10, which is also front, rounded. You have number 11. I'm familiar with number 11, please. And let me give you some examples from French. So in French language, you say peur. Il a peur. ولا خايف ولا خايفة من شي حاجة. This is it. Peur. Peur. So the vowel you have in peur is the one you have in 11. This is a front vowel, but which is rounded. Because try to pronounce this word, which is peur. When you pronounce it, you feel that, this vowel is articulated with the lips being rounded. So you have this vowel. And we have another, front vowel, which is rounded. I'm trying to do my best to provide you with more examples, of languages in which we have these different, vowels, okay? It's a promise. I will be checking them. In other references to make you familiar with them, even if you you are not obliged to know about them, but it's only for your extra information. Yes, Sabah.
Professor, I want to ask whether we have some examples in English language about this France.
No. I'm saying that they do not exist in English. No, they exist in other languages. So in English, Sabah, you simply have, the front vowels, which are E, the long one and the short one. So we have long E and we have short E, yes. And you have the mid vowel, which is in number 2 here, A, and we have the low vowel A. These are the vowels we have in English. I'm speaking about the front ones, Sabah.
Yes, Professor.
Which are all n-rounded in English. In English, these vowels are n-rounded. Even vowel in number 3 doesn't exist in English. Number 3 doesn't exist in English. You have it perhaps in French and in other languages, okay? So This is for the, as we have just said, it's for the front rounded. As we may also have to the three back vowels, which are to the four, let's say, back vowels which are identified in chart on page 24. Jones add, more vowels, the one that you have on in 13, in 14, the one you have in 15. You are familiar with it. You are familiar with it, as you are familiar with the one you have in 16. Perhaps it's English O, as I have just discussed it in English O, that you have in in words like not, caught, pot, and other words. You can find other words, okay? And you have the vowel in 15. In 15, it's clear in English. So you know that whenever you have in spelling, the vowel U, then it's going to turn out to be this vowel phonetically, speaking, like put, no, I'm sorry, like bat, cap, and many other examples. So this is the vowel you have in 15. The vowel you have in 15, okay? Then, so far we have 16 cardinal vowels. 8 are basically primary cardinal vowels, and other 8 we have just considered are secondary cardinal ones. So this group comprises those vowel sounds which belong neither to the front nor to the back vowels. They are articulated, in addition to these 6 vowels, human language makes use of a set of vowels referred to as the group of central vowels. Central. As Abdelmoula has just asked this question, by central we mean a vowel that is in between front and back. It is not front, it is not back, but it is central. So this group comprises, vowels which belong neither to the first front nor to the back. It's in between. It's in between, and we will consider these vowels, of course. They are articulated. Why are they called central? For the simple reason that they are articulated with the highest part of the tongue lying under the area between the hard palate and the velum. The first vowel you are familiar with, and it's usually called a shva or a shwa. A shva or a shwa. You have in words like in ego, ego, it's a shva. It's a shva vowel. As you see, it's placed within central vowels. Just consider, the chart in 1.7, please. Are you following? Are you following, dear students?
Question.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have a question, Anas? Anas?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Considering the number 15 in this example,
15.
We have number 15. She's in bat. Got in English.
It's What's the problem?
Yeah. Problem here is it occurs at the back, but when as far as I know, is that it occurs also in the center.
No.
Mid-center.
No, it's not central. No. It's somehow low. It's not totally low. It's somehow low, but it's a back vowel. It's not central one, Mr. Anas. Yeah. It's not central. It's back. Okay.
Yeah, we've seen that in the previous examples and the last semesters. That it occurs in the central.
As I have CNS, as I have just said, I have mentioned that the problem with the identification of vowels is that there is no agreement. There is no agreement on their particular and exact placement. That's the problem. So we have different opinions expressed on this. Different opinions. But for the purposes of the present, I mean, subject, I mean, phonetics, just consider that it's a back one, back vowel. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay. So, the first vowel, as I have been saying, is the schwa, the vowel that you find in words like ago, about, father, mother, the last one. It's a central vowel. This vowel has, minus values for all features. This is very important. Minus values. What does it mean having minus values for all features? What does it mean? So you have minus front, minus back, minus low, minus high, minus low, minus high, minus low, because it is mid. It is mid vowel. It is central, but mid. And you have minus long, minus rounded. As you can see, it has zero, it has minus values for all features, okay? And this is called also, it is also referred to as a reduced vowel, schwa. We call it schwa, or reduced vowel. And we have, this is the vowel, yes, Anas it's Anas who spoke about this. Yes, this is the vowel you spoke about. It's the vowel you have in words like bird, world, wood, girl, thirst, and many other examples. Yes, so this is the, yeah, it's the, yeah, it's a central, Anas, it's a central vowel. It's a central vowel. It's a mid one also. It is central, it is mid, but it is long. It's a long vowel, as you can see. So, dear students, the colon we use for in front of, vowels means that they are long vowels. Long vowels. It's a long central vowel. So the trapezium below gives these vowels and their positions. All vowels are represented here. These vowels we have been considering are represented, here. And a kind of recapitulation of the description that is outlined, that has been outlined so far. So together with additional vowel features, vowels are commonly described. This is what I have just said. This is a kind of summary of what I have tried to clarify. So vowels are commonly described along the following parameters: vowel height, and this basically means whether a vowel is high in its production, involving bunching up the blade of the tongue towards the hard palate. So we have seen what are the high vowels, and we have mid-high. Mid-high, that is to say, they are mid vowels. They are not high and they are not low. You have representative examples of these vowels, and we have low, and we have low, high, mid, low, okay? And we have vowel backness as the second dimension. So a vowel is back if its production involves retracting the root of the tongue back towards the pharynx. So the vowels oo, o, oo, and a are the I you have spoken about, Mr. Anas or Walid, I don't remember, are all back vowels, okay?
I have a question, sorry for interruption. So, shall we also consider the vowels that not exist in English?
No, don't bother yourself with those vowels, no.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. The vowels produced while keeping the tongue in the front parts of the vocal tract are called front. The vowels produced while keeping the tongue in the front parts of the vocal tract are called front. Then rounding. A vowel is round or rounded if its production involves lip rounding. So it's clear. The rounded vowels are, I mean, clear. So you have O, you have U, the long one, and you have short U. You have long O, and you have short O. And you have you have in English, like in bird. And you have as I have just said, like in French, peur, and other, I mean, examples from different languages. And then we have what I have just said. So let me say then that height, vowel height, vowel backness, and vowel rounding, they fall under the heading of, as I have just said, they fall under the heading of what?
Quality, the vowel quality.
Yeah, vowel quality. Very good. Now, length that we will be considering is what is referred to as vowel
quantity.
Very good. So a vowel is long if its duration lasts twice as much as its short counterpart. For example, E in seat, where length is signaled by a colon, has a longer duration than the phonetically similar short vowel E in sit. You still remember that we discussed this in class when we dealt with the mora as a unit measuring syllable weight. Do you still remember this?
Yeah, I still remember this.
Yeah. So this is how we should understand vowel length. Or vowel quantity. Okay, now you may come across in many different, I mean, references and textbooks, you may come across, I mean, these notions such as tense and lax vowels. So what is tenseness? Tense vowel is basically a vowel that is articulated with muscular tension in the tongue and the inner walls of the mouth. It means that tense vowels are maintained longer. That's it. They are maintained longer. So if you, I mean, compare E, A, O, U, you find that they are tense. If you compare them, I mean, with the lax ones, that is to say, the vowels which are articulated without such tension are called lax. Without such tension are called lax. Okay, so this is just for your extra information. We won't bother you. We won't bother you with the use of these terms, tense and lax. They are not so. They are not of much importance. They are not of much importance. Okay,
Professor?
So yeah.
So, it is said also that the tense-lax distinction doesn't really apply to low vowels. That's true?
Does not really apply to?
The low vowels.
The low ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Because here you have no low vowel here, for tense and lax. Yes, it only applies for high and mid. Yeah.
Yes, Professor. This is my point. So
yes, that's it. Yeah, that's sure. Yes, it's true. It's true, said Mola. Okay. So please, the vowels we have been considering so far are said to be simple vowels. They are simple, or we also call them monophthongs. Simple vowels or monophthongs because they are made up simply of one single gesture in a single position in the vowel space above that we have considered in figures 1.4, 1.5, and 1.6. In some languages, and the English is a case in point, as is Moroccan Arabic, vowels may involve two positions. They may involve two positions. That is to say, we may have a combination of two non-similar vowels, or two positions starting at one and finishing at the other. For example, you have the vowel in fine. It's not one vowel. So this I in spelling, this alphabetic letter you have in fine, is not a simple vowel. It's not a simple vowel, no, because you start at having a and finishes at e. It starts at a and finishes at e, giving you I, which is in reality, it's not a monophthong, but it is rather a diphthong. It is rather a diphthong. What is then a diphthong? A diphthong is simply a combination of two non-similar vowels. It's different from a long vowel. What makes the difference then between a long vowel and a diphthong? What makes the difference? Quickly, please. Yes, Sabah.
Diphthongs is when we combine two vowels to give one single
sound.
vowel.
One single sound. Yeah. Yeah, it's a diphthong. Whereas a vowel is simply one single sound. It's a monophthong. Yeah. Sometimes the transition from one vowel to the next within the diphthong is represented by an inverted tie bar to show that they constitute a single complex sound. So you have here examples. So for instance, you say mine, and you have, same, and you have home, and you have near. So these are cases of, diphthongs, okay? The last point very quickly we'll be considering on this virtual session is basically a point that we already discussed in class, and it's basically that difference that we made between primary articulation and secondary articulation, or co-articulation. Who would like to remind us of this very quickly, please? What did we say about that in class? Primary articulation, secondary articulation, or co-articulation? Quickly.
Professor?
Yes, Abdelmoula?
We see that primary articulation is not concerned with phonetic environment of sound. It deals with sounds as an isolated entities, whereas secondary articulation is concerned with the phonetic environment in which they occur.
Yes. Any other answer?
Like we have the word pen. It's just primary articulation. But if you go to the secondary articulation, we will say that p is aspirated and is nasalized and so on. It's the surface.
Yes, that's true, Abdelmoula. Good, that's true. Yes. So we basically said that primary articulation is the primitive articulation, basically. It's the way a consonant is articulated within the vocal tract without taking into consideration the effects or that it may, have when it is located, in the neighborhood of different sounds. Whereas secondary articulation, Abdelmoula, is when we have, a kind of coloring or a secondary modification superimposed on primary articulation, okay? So human speech is, what is co-articulation then? So it is said on page 27 that human speech is characterized by variation in the pronunciation of individual sounds. The articulation of k in English, for example, is conditioned by the nature of the vowel following it. So it is fronted in kit because it is followed by a vowel E, articulated by placing the tongue in the front part of the vocal tract. So k in caught is back, a gesture which involves pulling the root of the tongue back towards the pharynx. This is because it is followed by a vowel articulated in the same way. In a narrow transcription, which we already discussed, the diacritic plus is placed under the consonant k to indicate that the sound is fronted, while the symbol minus is used to indicate that it is back. By the same token, su, the consonant s, is labialized, and we already discussed the case of labialization in class, which was extracted basically from Moroccan Arabic. For instance, when I gave you words like غراب, like ba, like kubar. So here, these consonants are labialized because they are articulated, with the lip rounding, which is also referred to as labialization. So you have swim in English. The s is labialized because its production anticipates the labial rounded sound. Such anticipatory modifications in the production of sounds are referred to as co-articulation or secondary articulation. Added to these examples, we have aspiration. In English, we have palatalization, we have labialization, we have velarization, and many nasalization. If you still remember, we also discussed it in class, nasalization. So below is a list of co-articulation types together with the diacritics used to symbolize them, where C stands for a consonant and V for a vowel. Okay? So here on page 28, please, your attention, page 28. So as you can see, so it means that consonant is fronted, aspirated, nasalized, velarized, back, labialized, dental, syllabic. So when we have a kind of, a stop, when you have a kind of a stop that is placed underneath a consonant, it means that it is syllabic. So if we have time, we will see that certain consonants may act as being syllabic in English and in other languages. We will consider this if we have time in relation to syllable structure, of course, okay? Devoiced consonants, palatalized, that is to say, they are associated, accompanied with y, a consonant with y. These are palatalized, pharyngalized, glottalized, and so on. So these are all examples of co-articulation types. And this, secondary articulation should be made different from double articulation. Pay attention. Double articulation is different from secondary articulation. It is so in the sense that while a secondary articulation is subordinate to a primary articulation, it's only subordinate to it. It's a kind of, as I have just said, an articulation that is superimposed. Secondary articulation or modification is a kind of articulation that is superimposed on primary articulation. Superimposed. It's subordinate. It's subordinate to it. Double articulation involves two separate articulatory gestures of equal importance. So let me just refer you back to what we have just said about affricates in English language. Affricates. So since we have two separate articulatory gestures, are they both important, or we can do without one? Yes.
They are both important. We cannot ignore
Very
one.
good. Then affricates in English are a case of double articulation. Double articulation. So double articulation is not conditioned. It is not conditioned by any anticipatory maneuvers or constraints on the vocal tract. And the West African languages, basically, West African languages are known for complex sounds made by double articulation. For instance, you have the labiovelar stops such as pk, bg are found in iwi and hosa. These complex stops are produced with either a pulmonic or glottalic airstream, and they are considered single sounds, very much like affricates in English. Very much like affricates in English.
Professor?
Yes, Abdullah?
Can we consider diphthong as a double articulation? Diphthong.
Yeah, they may be considered as double articulation, sure, yeah. Any other question, please?
Professor?
Abdelmoula?
The word that I didn't get to it, so the main difference by mid-high and mid-low vowels. So I didn't quite understand it. When you say mid-high,
yeah, mid-high, don't bother yourself with this distinction. These are very detailed distinctions. So Abdelmoula, just consider that the vowel A we have in English in words like, for instance, get, jest, and many other words is a mid-vowel. Whereas, I mean, the vowel A is a low one. Because here this distinction is made simply to make that very, I mean, exact distinction existing between the vowel you have in 2, which we have in English, and the one we have in 3. Is it clear, Sir Abdelmoula?
Yes, Professor, it's clear now.
That's it. Don't bother yourself with this, I mean, details. Okay? Any other question, please? Any other question? Because it's programmed for, I mean, 12 o'clock. Yes, Mohammed. Mohammed?
I don't have any question.
Yes, let me just, please, do you know, is the deadline already declared for stopping the courses?
Yeah, it's Friday. We'll stop this Friday.
Yeah, please, your attention. Your attention. So, yeah, I will inform you about the details. I will inform you about that. And Mohammed is going to inform you. Mohammed is going to inform you about all details concerning the remainder of the courses. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah,
so
because
this was the last session of phonetics. We still have other session.
We will have another session. It's going to be on Thursday.
Inshallah. It's okay, yes.
Yeah, Thursday. So do you have class, please, do you have class from 8 to 10 or from 10 to 8?
From 10 to, we have from 10 to 12.
Yeah, then we will have it in the afternoon or in the evening, as you like. Afternoon or evening.
I think evening
is better.
Okay.
Evening is better, yeah.
Okay. Please, did you receive? I mean, the lectures in discourse analysis?
Yes, Professor, received them.
Okay.
Which lecture, Professor? Lecture number 5 or another lecture?
No, 6 and 7.
I don't know. I have just number 5.
No, I already sent you number 5 and number 6 and 7. Abdelmoula. Did you get them, Abdelmoula?
Somebody, I just got the 5 and the lecture number 4.
I sent you, please, via, the platform. I already launched number 6 and 7. 6 and 7. Make sure.
Professor, the first and the second.
I will send them tomorrow or Thursday. Tomorrow, God willing, or Thursday.
Professor?
Okay.
Sabah.
What about phonology and phonetic? I want to ask whether we have a PDF or something like that in phonology.
Yeah, no, it's not PDF. You will have audios. You will receive audios. Before Friday, God willing. Before that.
A reminder or a new session?
No, I will be explaining the remainder of all what we have in the files for phonology and phonetics. I will explain everything.
Okay, Professor, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Welcome. Shall we bring this session to a closure, please?
Professor, I have last question. It's a last question. I'm sorry for that. So just for the exam for phonetic, so is going to be 100 practical, or there will be some question like?
Please, that's a good point. Please try to work on all the exercises you have at the end of the file for phonetics. All. Because you may have such kind of questions in the exam.
Okay, Professor.
And you send them to me for correction. You send them to me for correction.
So which page you have the exercises?
At the end of the file for phonetics, beginning from page 33, yes, page 33 to page 56. 33 to 56, please. Is it clear?
Madam, please. I have a question.
Warda.
I was wondering about the example in page 33. It's about transcribing words from Arabic to using English symbols. Do we have such examples?
No, it's not. It's no, Warda. You will not be using English symbols. No, pay attention. So we said, do you hear me, Warda?
Yes, madam. I hear you.
Yeah, Warda. We said before that we have an international phonetic alphabet. Pay attention. An international phonetic alphabet that holds true, that works for all languages of the world. The one that we have considered for English is only a sub-part of it. It's only a sub-part of it. You see? Then the symbol, because we have discussed consonants, other consonants existing in Arabic.
Okay.
Pay attention, Warda. Yeah, we have discussed them. And you have, of course, you have, the file, you have, the chart that is summarizing all the consonants that you may have. Is it clear? It's on page, Warda, page 31 and page 32. 31 and 32. Is it clear?
Yes, it is clear.
So, but Professor, the exam will be only considered with English.
You may have, Arabic. Why not? You may have it, or French. Why not?
Professor, I just have one question about, like, for example, Asir. Could we use the word akala, or would we have some sound symbol to have العين?
You have it. We discussed it, Muhammad. العين. Back to page 31, Muhammad. Back to page 31. Yeah. Page 31. Yeah, Muhammad.
Yes.
Consider a pharyngeal. Pharyngeal. Yeah.
I'm looking for it.
Yeah, pharyngeal.
Yes, I saw it.
It's then is pharyngeal. It is fricative. It is voiced. Is it clear?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You simply need to revise. Please try to revise. And as I told you before, dear students, we won't stop. Dear students, غير باش نكونوا متفاهمين أنا وياكم الله يخليكم. اسمعوا لي عافاكم باش ما نطيحوش في المشكل اللي طحنا فيه سابقا. شوفوا. Interaction is going to, continue on the platform, even after the 4th of June. Is it clear?
Yeah.
And it's not for the purpose. It's not for the purpose of adding more, lectures, but it's only for the purpose of answering your questions, correcting your, exercises, and so on. Is this clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So then we will bring this session to a closure. Okay, so I hope you good luck. I hope you good luck for your preparation. Do you know about the date of the exam or not yet?
Not
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. So then let's call it a day, and looking forward to meeting you on Thursday, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, madam.
Welcome.
Thank you.